Thank you for those kind words, Peter. Appreciate it. Good afternoon, everyone. Consul General Hart, fellow board members and board alumni, distinguished guests. This is truly a special occasion for me. It is an honor and a privilege to be in the company of so many friends and colleagues as I take over the rather daunting responsibilities of serving as the 2016 chairman of AmCham Hong Kong. I am delighted to have the opportunity to help lead this dynamic and influential international business organization to another plateau of excellence in this, its 47th year. I say help lead because after serving 2 years as vice chairman, I know AmCham is blessed with a team of strong leaders. We have an extraordinarily strong board of 25 senior executives and more than 60 committee chairs and vice chairs. We have a deep bench, and I look forward to drawing upon all of them as we begin another active year. 2 years ago, under the inspiring leadership of my predecessor Peter Levesque, the board initiated an important strategic planning process to determine AmCham's future role in Hong Kong, what it could be and should be by the year 2020. We gave careful consideration of where Hong Kong is heading and also tried to anticipate members' expectations over the coming 5 years. Back then, we built a basic roadmap for the Chamber's long-term success in providing high-quality member services and further strengthening our role as a thought leader in Hong Kong's continued development as Asia's world city. Last year, we implemented the first of our 5-year strategic plan, which focused on building an even stronger operational foundation, board structure, and management team. As Peter said last year in his inaugural speech, our 2015 theme was vision. At nearly every board meeting last year, we took a substantial time to step back from the day-to-day concerns to discuss and keep relevant the Chamber. How could we keep the Chamber and Hong Kong cutting-edge competitive? We invited noted experts and visionaries to speak with us about the topics that included Hong Kong's business integration leadership in the greater Pearl River Delta, Hong Kong's superconnector role between China and the rest of Asia, and the challenges ahead for Hong Kong's financial, transportation and logistics, real estate, and education sectors. The potential opportunities for Hong Kong's competitive excellence through smart city development, and of course, the continuing importance of one country, two systems to the continuing viability of Hong Kong. But last year, we didn't stop with discussions. We acted. We tested new programs. We adjusted our office staffing. We involved our leadership with membership in more closed-door meetings and events, and much, much more. In short, we laid the foundation for our 2016 focus on engagement and implementation. So the second year of our plan is action-oriented. We will have increased focus on creating value for our members and being a thought leader in our advocacy with the US, Hong Kong, the mainland, especially the US, the Pearl River Delta cities, and with selected other countries in the region as required by our committee-based business delegations. We will be building on a firm foundation. I am grateful to past chairman, Peter Levesque, and all the great leadership of the board in 2015 for their fine accomplishments to set the scene for our activities in 2016. I would be remiss not to highlight a few of those achievements, especially as they frame many of our continuing priorities for this year. Peter said in last year's inaugural address that we would build the foundations in AmCham for implementing our vision of what the Chamber should be by 2020. A top priority was to strengthen our core operations to provide additional value to our members through better network management and member communications. I'm happy to say we kept our promises. The board and committee leaders, along with the AmCham office staff, refined operations and tested a number of new offerings to members, from expanded event categories to new signature event sponsorship benefits, to increased interaction with Hong Kong and PRC officials. I'll just give you 3 examples of what we've done to strengthen your chamber and how we work to create increased membership value and leverage our expertise for the good of Hong Kong's overall business environment. First, we put substantial investment in some timely upgrades to our IT capabilities. You've already seen some of the results of these efforts. We now have webcasts of selected events available to our website as well as YouTube. Our website and monthly magazine are now more mobile friendly. We've introduced and refined our social media platform, and we've tried to reduce our email overload. As you know, we run hundreds of events each year, an average of 2 per business day. We've worked to reduce the number of the emails by targeting member interests better, by shifting some of the announcements to social media, and by installing a system whereby members can select what categories of emails they're interested in. We don't want communications to be considered spam. But we do want to keep everyone informed of our rich selection of truly excellent content-heavy, networking-intense events. It's a difficult balance, and we'll try to keep at it. This year, we will move more vigorously toward an electric content for our communications. We will do our best to get the membership directory and our Invest in USA Services Providers directory fully online. We want people to be able to do much more from their mobile phones, to easily read event announcements, register for events, and to pay online. Second, when Peter said that we would develop increasingly targeted programs, I'm happy to say we also kept our promises. One excellent example of this has been our initial build-out of invitation-only roundtables as a subcategory of our terrific agenda of daily AmCham events. We hosted roughly 60 roundtables last year, including a substantial portion of advocacy-focused discussions. Our members have been enthusiastic about the tone and the content of these smaller select groups. This year, you can expect an increasing number of committees to host such events. They're an excellent complement to our already popular speaker and panel events. Another example of the qualitative leap in China-related programs. We've tested various member-only programs offering these interesting topics. Business delegation trips to China that include visits with top executives at benchmark Chinese companies. Building international relationships with Chinese partner organizations in Hong Kong and China in support of AmCham members' exposure to investment and other business development there. We've offered closed-door briefings in both English and Mandarin with U.S. and PRC officials to discuss trends and challenges in the U.S.-China relations. Last year, we met with over 16 different provincial officials and 10 key cities in China for business development discussions. Expect further refinements to our programs this year, especially as China's broad reform and restructuring agenda will require close monitoring. Third, Peter said that we would enhance our advocacy agenda. Again, we've certainly kept our promises. In addition to substantially expanded number of advocacy roundtables with Hong Kong government officials, we have greatly boosted our written submissions following extensive research and drafting done by the various committees in conjunction with our board and strategic group leadership. These submissions, available on our website, were addressed to the Environment Bureau, the Transport and Housing Bureau, the Food and Health Bureau, the Competition Commission, the Education Bureau, and the Legislative Council. We also submitted a 100-paragraph list of recommendations to the Chief Executive for his policy address based on the detailed input from our committees. Advocacy has especially been close to my heart. As Vice Chairman the last 2 years, I've chaired the Government Relations Group, which coordinates our meetings with top-level government officials. Part of the advocacy is finding out the facts. This year, our events will continue to emphasize Hong Kong-China relations, regional and global trade, and Hong Kong competitiveness to keep our members informed. This year, China AmCham will continue to organize door-knock delegations to Beijing, Shanghai, cities in the Pearl River Delta, and other locations as needed by our membership. We especially need to engage our members who have operations in Shenzhen and the other PRD cities to ensure that we are providing relevant information and support for their business integration across the border. Part of this will track to the near future impact of increased road, MTR, and rail connections between Hong Kong and the PRD. We will continue soft advocacy meetings with PRD-based officials on how to balance cooperation and competition between cities, which is very important. We call this co-opetition, and getting this right will be an important dimension of Hong Kong's competitiveness in the region and globally. As always, we will be seeking improved market access and fair competition for business development in China, and will continue our efforts to link our service provider membership with Chinese companies seeking to go global. Also, expect a surge in AmCham Hong Kong events to keep everyone on top of the huge number of changes underway in China and how they impact Hong Kong. Some of the topics would be the content and projected impact of the 13th five-year plan, the complicated shift from a manufacturing to a service economy in China, the opportunities from the rollout of the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank and the One Belt, One Road project, the impact of continuing anti-corruption and reform movements on government decision-making, the impact of strengthening national champion policy for China companies and SOE reform, and a host of other areas such as renminbi nationalization, financial sector reforms, healthcare development, air and water pollution, jobs and talent development, and much, much more. Altogether, these changes suggest a sweeping sea change in China, comparable to the opening up under Deng Xiaoping. We will all have to stay especially diligent and well-informed and alert, and AmCham will help us do that. For the United States, AmCham will continue to lobby the U.S. administration and Congress on the passage of the Trans-Pacific Partnership to establish a global trade framework with high standards vital to the U.S. economy and the workforce in the long run. Passage of TPP will also be an important indication of U.S. engagement with the Asia Pacific. We will also continue to follow and brief government interlocutors on U.S.-China bilateral relations. We will track closely the developments of the U.S.-China bilateral investment treaty negotiations, share observations on trends of Chinese outbound investments, and promote Select USA in Washington, D.C. In June later this year. Now, because of the U.S. election this year, we will probably be a bit more low-key on U.S. tax reform advocacy. I don't think they're listening to any of us right now on that topic. But we'll definitely get back to that next year with more enthusiasm and vigor, I'm sure. Now let me turn to a short summary of our advocacy priorities for Hong Kong itself. And as in previous years, our advocacy topics for Hong Kong express AmCham's continuing interest in encouraging the changes needed to keep the SAR truly competitive. At the same time, the Chamber reviews Hong Kong government priorities to see how best to muster business support for those areas recognized as truly useful and productive for business. Now, this is not an exhaustive list, and as we know in the committees, they can change often with new issues developing during the year. But I'll start with financial services first. AmCham companies will continue to play a strong role in helping Hong Kong take a leading role in major developments in the mainland in the Asia-Pacific region. For instance, we will continue to give professional input to the Financial Services Development Council, the Financial Services and Treasury Bureau, the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, and the Securities and Futures Commission. Our goal is to help develop innovative products for the Stock Connect, perhaps with the potential Bond Connect, and the mutual recognition of funds. The next area is education and labor. And really, over the past 2 years, our long-standing emphasis on the shortage of international schools has gained solid government response. New schools have opened up, and others will relatively soon, taking a lot of pressure off admission constraints that we've seen in the past, especially at the primary level. We thank the government for its productive responses. We will continue to monitor this topic as we expect more international schools to be needed in Kowloon and the new territories, especially as more expatriates settle in those areas. Labor topics have also come to the fore, especially over the last year or so. There are already shortages in major sectors, including mid and low-level services, as well as specialized white-collar areas. AmCham will continue to strategize with government to attract, train, and maintain the local talent the city needs, as well as to facilitate talent recruitment from overseas, both essential to Hong Kong's international flavor and success. We will also review the need for an updated labor law based on international best practices corresponding to Hong Kong's current and future needs. Related educational themes include the importance of cultivating a global mindset among students, language capabilities, both English and Mandarin, opportunities for vocational training and jobs, visas for potential overseas and mainland students, and interns for international and cross-border cultural exchange. On the environment, we will continue to push for better planning for ground transportation efficiency, which could really substantially alleviate travel times, transportation costs, and roadside pollution. We will make a practical recommendation on maximizing the use of road and rail-based mass public transport and containing the growth of private cars on the island. As last year, we will advocate for a cleaner fuel mix, encouraging water conservation, and urging capitalization on green and healthy harborside recreation and business services. On transportation and logistics sector, it contributes the largest portion of Hong Kong's GDP. As elaborated by Peter last year, the government simply cannot take a back seat in addressing the eroding competitiveness of Hong Kong Port, which supports the livelihood of so many Hong Kong residents. On aviation, we welcome the Chief Executive's plan to strengthen Hong Kong's role as a major regional aviation hub. The Hong Kong International Airport is a very important infrastructure asset, and the third runway system will build the necessary capacity to continue to capture growth in air traffic both on the passenger side as well as the cargo side in competition with many airports in the region. Our strategy for addressing all of these priorities is greatly assisted by our strategic groups of senior executives with extensive experience in the sectors. This institutional structure, which draws well from the board and the committees, has been an invaluable asset in adding professionalism and best practice content to all of our advocacy. Before closing my remarks, let me take this opportunity to thank some very special people. First, a sincere thank you to all of our friends at the U.S. Consulate, many of whom are here today. Consul General Hart, on behalf of the American business community and the broader community, thank you very much for your exceptional leadership and service during the past few years. Definitely enjoyed the interaction during that time. We have always had a superb working relationship with the U.S. Consulate, and the past years have been incredibly productive and enjoyable, as mentioned by Consul General Hart. We truly appreciate the close counsel that Consul General Hart, CG Tom Cooney, and the entire U.S. Consulate team provide AmCham. I would also like to thank my fellow board members, who I've had the pleasure of working with over the last several years, and especially to our outgoing board members, Anne-Marie Balfe, Tom Burns, David Adelman, Richard Weissman, Colin Tam, and Frank Wong. For you guys, if you're here, thank you so much. We really appreciate your efforts during your time on the board. Thank you. Let's give them a round of applause. AmCham is an impressive group of talented international business executives who understand the issues and care about Hong Kong. I look forward to working with them together with our 2016 Vice-Chairman, Steve Lackey, and our Treasurer, Sarah Bosco. I would also like to recognize the tremendous efforts of our strategic groups and committees who comprise the majority of AmCham's volunteer leadership. Group and committee chairs and vice chairs are the brain power that plays such an important role in AmCham's work and success. A special thanks to our president, Richard Volsek, and his excellent management team for their diligent efforts in keeping our chamber energized and moving in the right direction. Richard's enthusiasm and dedication to the chamber is an asset to each and every one of us members on the organization. So thank you. Congratulations to past Chairman James Sun, who led the 2015 Charitable Foundation, raising over $635,000 for worthy causes in Hong Kong. And to past Chairman Jim Thompson and Crown Wine Cellars for once again hosting the annual charity event at their facility. My personal thanks also to the entire United team for their support. And last but not least, a big thank you to my lovely wife, Sonia, who has been a great supporter over all these years and hasn't given me a bad interview. Thank you. So in closing, as we step into this brand new year, AmCham will remain steadfast in its commitment to engage and work with all key stakeholders as we implement our ambitious 5-year plan to create a better chamber and a better Hong Kong. As always, we look forward to constructive interaction throughout the year with the Hong Kong SAR government, the Legislative Council, the U.S. Consulate General, the vibrant international business community, and Hong Kong's entrepreneurs and community leaders. With that, thank you and Happy New Year.